Hello, welcome to the Sovereign Magazine show. We are a transformational experience where conscious conversations meet embodied wisdom. Each episode invites visionary healers, thought leaders, and change makers to share their journeys of awakening, offering listeners practical tools and soul-stirring insights to reclaim their inner authority. Today, we have the amazing Chris Melville and two of our contributors to Sovereign Magazine who are going on a year-long journey with us learning to decode the CEO. And if you missed the last episode, which was about redefining success and stepping into your CEO identity, definitely go back and watch. But today we're talking about taking radical responsibility. So, Chris, why don't you introduce yourself and then I will give our guests an opportunity to do the same.
Okay, hi everybody. I'm Chris Melville. I am a business mentor for solopreneurs who realize that they are the block in their business. So whether you're not growing because of your mindset and you know those things inside your head that are holding you back, or if there are gaps in your business knowledge, that's what I'm here to help with.
Amazing. Aja, why don't you go first?
Hi. Hey, I'm Aja Daigneault, and I am a coach and practicing witch, and I help women heal the witch wound through elevating their relationships and finding their own power within themselves and unleashing their authentic selves.
Crystal.
Hi, everyone. I'm Crystal Cockerham, and I guide women through their midlife rebirth to master the language of their inner goddess, reclaim their sovereignty, and redefine the next chapter of their life through sacred rituals, working with the moon, and having a personal devotional practice.
Amazing. All right, Chris, I'm going to mute myself and let you take it away because that's where the magic is.
Okay, so Aja and Crystal, last time we talked about stepping into our CEO mindset. And before we go on with today, I just want to take a step back and ask you both what, if anything, shifted for you after last week. You were given some homework to go away and do. And I'd love to hear, was there some self-awareness that came up around, oh, I need to do something differently here, or oh, I'm stepping into my CEO ship?
Both. So I
Yay.
realized I was stepping into that, but it was after I had a small, um, not a mental breakdown, but I had this really big moment where I was like, oh my God, no one else is here to pick up where I'm
Mm,
messing up. And I realized one of your questions, I'm misquoting it, to us was, where are you giving, your power? Where are you giving CEO to
yeah.
someone else or something else? And I realized that I was waiting for like a superior or a boss
Mm,
to step in and course correct me versus doing what I know is right and listening to my intuition. The whole reason I got out of my other career into this and realigning. Like essentially the same thing I would coach anyone to. I just had this moment where I was like, oh, silly Aja, you knew this. Like you know this. Yeah, and so I dusted myself off and I have just had like this really very beautiful creative streak and I just feel so much more um hopeful and excited with the
mhm.
next steps. It was really kind of cool.
Okay, so let's just stick with that for a minute. And can we go back and look at maybe like the last 6 months? And can you see a pattern in decisions you were making or not making that were holding your business back? Can you specifically see where it became a bottleneck?
Yes. So it would be learning learning a new aspect of business, whether it's
Okay.
learning a new coaching methodology
Hmm.
or a new framework to use, something as simple as posting content, what have you. I would suddenly change my wheels and completely go head over heels into that new topic.
Hmm.
And I didn't realize I was waiting for someone to essentially like, no, 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 get back to what you were doing, which was,
Hmm.
XYZ, stick with one thing, work with your person, your ideal client. And it just kept, I do it, move off, do it, move off. And so this bottleneck that was happening, as you said, was just me realizing that I was getting in my own way consistently over and over again. And
Hmm.
then this over time, the 6 months, I've realized it more and more, but that question, really posing it to myself and realizing that I thought unconsciously that someone else was going to come and be like, oh, do it this other way. This is
Yeah.
better. Versus like, I can do this. I have the tools and
Mhm.
I have the support system in place for that.
Mhm.
It's just been so eye-opening. And to see myself 6 months ago, I would never have thought I would be where I'm at. And so
Mhm.
even more aligned to my deity, to being more aligned to just my spiritual intuition coming forth, and
Mhm.
really excited to start getting into my podcast again and working with women and just the new various forms of energy that I've been able to really focus in on and stay focused in on. So
Amazing. That's what
yeah.
we like to hear. All right, Crystal, how about you?
Um, for me, uh, I really tapped into the success itinerary idea and the
Mhm.
planning. And in my excitement, I'm not going to say I bit off more than I can chew, but in my excitement, I came up with this lovely journey, and I just didn't realize the time it takes to get everything from that
Mhm.
idea to the full creation and implemented and out into the world. So while everything can still go according to like the dates I had planned, so to
Mhm.
speak, um, and of course I'm not going to say I'm behind, I'm not behind,
Mhm.
but they've taken longer than I thought, so I thought I would be further ahead in the development of
Mhm.
things than I am now. So my big takeaway from that, because at the end of the week or next week, I have, the monthly planner
Yep.
you gave us.
Mhm.
That is like I've already jotted down that as a reflection. Like I need to be mindful of how much and what I create and when,
Mhm.
just because, and I shared this with somebody just last week. Um, I absolutely love doing every single aspect of my offers, including designing and creating the workbooks.
Mhm.
Because for me, every single thing is that energy imprint. And I love having everything represented in the way that I'm delivering it and hoping that it's received, right? With that
Yeah.
intention.
Yeah.
So, I don't want to take away from that because one, I love doing it, and two, it's very important to me because it's just how I operate. So I really want to make sure that when I'm planning, I'm creating enough space for all of that to
Mhm.
happen.
Okay. And this is a big step in your CEO mindset is being able to take that step back and say, okay, what's worked, what's not worked, what do I
Mhm.
need to do differently? And also prioritizing things because the business mentor me is like, at some point, you're gonna have to start giving stuff up because,
Yeah.
what's taking you that time that you're spending creating workbooks is time you could be spending doing revenue generating activities, right? Um, but we have to get to the point where we're ready to do that. And if this is still a priority for you to create every single aspect of what you're delivering to your clients, you need to figure out a way to make it. This is where like systems can come into place.
Mhm.
Are
Yeah.
there templates you can use and reuse? Is there material? Is there written text that you've got already that you can reuse? It's like, okay, what are my learnings around this? How can I make this work a little bit more smoothly?
Hmm.
All right. So that's the step up where most people are like, oh God, I didn't get it done. I just failed, right? And this is why I love stepping into a CEO mindset so well, is because a lot of times when we're running our own business or doing anything in life, right, we hold ourselves back and we kind of sometimes we can recognize it. Aja, you talked about this a little bit. You recognized that there was a bit of I think you actually used the word holding yourself back. but we just kind of think of that as a character trait, right? It's just who I am. Yeah. I self-sabotage. I get in my own way. I just, I overestimate the amount of time I have available to do my work. We take that as a personal thing, right? Where actually what it is, well, maybe I need to think a different way. Maybe I need to make an adjustment in my mindset. Maybe I need to put some systems into place. Maybe I need to get, you talked about going back to the planner already. That's great. You're starting to find a structure to help you progress your business that includes not just planning and forward vision, but also review and learning. Right.
Yeah.
So when we start to think that way, oh, there's something in my mindset here that's not quite right, or there's a gap in what I'm doing in my business, we can fix that really quickly. I mean, Aja, you turned around and you said you had this huge creative spell after you realized that this is what I've been doing. If we just think, oh, that's just who I am. Yeah, I get in my own way, or I don't have the confidence, or God, I hate when everybody labels themselves with imposter syndrome. It's not imposter syndrome. But the minute you put a label on it or define it as who you are, you're carrying it, right? And you're going to keep carrying it until you can understand, oh, actually, this is just something that maybe I haven't been taught yet, or this is something that, this is an outdated way of thinking that doesn't serve me anymore. And that's why we can move on. Okay, so that's great. I'm glad you guys have had some results from the first month of work. So today we're going to talk about radical responsibility. This is a hard one for me. I've always been very good at taking responsibility for my work when I worked for other people, right? And then and when I wasn't taking as much responsibility as I should for my own work when I started my business, what did I say? I'm lazy. I'm lazy. I can't be bothered to do that today, right? I can't be, nobody's going to nobody's going to notice if I don't post on social media today. Nobody's going to notice if I don't do a video today. Nobody, you just kind of, and again, took it on myself. It was a personality trait. It was me. I was lazy. And then I had something I could beat myself up with, right? But it wasn't that. It was that I wasn't setting healthy boundaries around my work by treating my business with the respect that it needed to be treated. And part of that came down to, don't have a boss anymore, don't have anybody to sit on me. A lot of jobs that I worked in, I worked with quite demanding people, and it was like, whoa, I don't have anybody making any demands of me anymore. I can do what I want when I want to, right? It was freedom. It's like nothing. Yeah. So when we start thinking about radical responsibility, we have to accept that we're responsible for a lot of things, not just running our own business. Okay. So we're responsible for what we tolerate, not just from our clients, but from ourselves. We talk a lot about setting boundaries, healthy boundaries around our clients. This client always goes over on a call. This client always needs extra work from me during the week. They're always messaging me. They're always asking. I end up, I'm charging for an hour and I end up working 3 hours a week for them, right? I don't like the way the client talks to me. The client's always late and then they want their full hour, and that makes me late for my next client. Okay. So we talk a lot about how do we set up boundaries around our clients, but we also have to set up boundaries around ourselves. How am I showing up? Right? Am I doing the work? Am I bringing excitement and enthusiasm to the work? Am I challenging myself to learn new skills or something that's going to make me better at what I do? So we have to start thinking not just about boundaries around the outside world, but boundaries around ourselves and the kind of behavior that we tolerate from ourselves, right? And that means that we're also responsible for the standards that we set. If you guys have not done your values yet, I would really encourage you to sit down and do work around the values that you like. And I have a worksheet that I think the worksheet's already in the community. We'll have a look, Nicole, and see if it's in there. we're more likely to match with clients if we share the same values than we are, we both go on holiday to the same place, right? Or we shop at the same supermarket. Values are what drives everything. When you think about your friends, you will have values in common with your friends. Maybe it's like, I have a great friend who I love dearly, and she's my go-to person when I need fun. I value fun. I value like being able to take time off and have fun. And I know when I want to have fun, when I want to have a good laugh, no matter what we're doing, I go to her because she values fun the same way that I do. Don't discount values like fun, excitement, entertainment. Those are if those are things that light you up, those are the kind of clients you want to be attracting, right? You want to be doing the work where your values are coming out, and your values will drive the standards that you set. And a really good question here to ask yourself, if my clients saw me outside of our sessions together, would they recognize who I am as a person? Is there that continuity between who I present myself as and who I really am? So something else I want to talk about. There's two other things I want to talk about before we open this up for discussion. About two other things that you're responsible for. And the first one is something I'm so passionate about because of the work that I do with the subconscious and the nervous system. Your brain believes two things. It believes the pictures you show it. So when we look at things like vision boards, this is why they work. And it believes the stories you tell it. If we're continuously telling our brain the same thing over and over and over again, your brain will accept it. It's just fact. It learns by rote. You're just telling it, so it's going to stop questioning it. So all those negative stories that get into your head, when you keep repeating them to yourself, your brain's like, yeah, sure. When you challenge that belief, your brain's like, yeah, show me the proof, right? We can't change the limiting belief without having to retrain our brain, right? We talk about reframing the thought. We talk about using mantras and things like that to teach our brain to accept what we're telling it. Because our brain doesn't accept it because we've spent so long telling it the opposite thing is true. It accepts that with no proof because you've spent 5 years telling your brain the same thing. If you want to change the thought, you have to teach your brain, you have to show it the truth. So when you catch those stories going through your head, it is your responsibility to stop it, look at how you can reframe it, to start teaching your brain to accept something different, but also to trace it back. You need to be able to find the root of that belief so that you can release that belief. Because so many of these beliefs that we hold about ourselves, that I'm not enough, I'm not smart enough, I can't sell, I can't make money, people don't like me, I'm not entertaining enough, I'll never be good at social media. These come from beliefs that we acquired and stored in our subconscious when we were old enough to still believe in Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny, right? Those beliefs don't serve us anymore. Why would they serve us now? But we hold on to them. We don't realize how old they are because it's just a pattern that plays in our head. It's just a broken record playing in our head. So when we start hearing these voices, these things that we're saying to ourselves, it's not just a case of like, oh, I'm going to reframe this. It's like, hey, let's get curious about this and find out where it's come from so I can get rid of it for good. And the last thing that I want you to really think about what you're responsible for, and this is the business part, you are responsible for the results that you get. Yeah. If you don't have clients coming in, it's not because the clients aren't out there. It's not because the clients that you want that will pay you and show up every week with great enthusiasm, and they'll do the work and they'll get the changes, they don't want to work with you because you're not getting them. You're not marketing yourself clearly enough. The result in what you're offering, the change, the transformation you're offering to your client isn't clear. You're not making yourself visible enough. Now, I don't want to sit here and sound like I'm blaming people. I'm just saying it goes back to what we talked about last week or last month. Nobody's coming to save you. Aja said it herself, right? So if nobody else is going to help be responsible for the results that you get by default, it's down to you, isn't it? And if you take the responsibility and you bring in that curiosity about why aren't I getting these clients? Why aren't my offers landing? And you look at what works with clients and what's not working, that's when you can start making those fine-tune adjustments that are the difference between, hey, here's an offer I really believe in, but nobody's signing up for it. And here's an offer everybody's snapping my hand off for. Right? So 4 things to think about this month. Where are you shifting responsibility? Is it in what you tolerate from clients or yourself? Are you not quite living the standards that you think you've set for yourself? Are you showing up differently, publicly, than who you are individually? What are the stories you've got on constant repeat? And if you've got programs or offers that aren't selling, when was the last time you went back and looked at it and tried to figure out why they're not selling? Why aren't I attracting the clients I want? Why aren't I filling my programs? Why aren't my clients getting the results that I want to give them? When was the last time I did some market research to prove that the offer I'm putting out there is something people want to pay for? We all think we know what is best for our clients, right? But unless you go out there and ask your clients, what proof do you have that you're right? Okay, let's open this up for a little conversation, shall we? Aja, you want to go first? What resonates in there for you?
It, going out when you mentioned, and this is something that had been coming up intuitively too. So this is so fitting. Where would I recognize myself out if I only knew my online presence?
Mm,
And the answer is no.
mm,
Maybe like it'd almost be like one of those celebrity things where they caught the famous person in the horrible bathing suit, like, and
right.
they got the worst picture. But that would be
Yeah.
like my everyday at school drop off or whatever.
Mhm.
And no, and I'm in a very interesting place where I am in this new part of the country and I know nobody. And I truly can embody my work even fuller from the start. It's not in a sense where I feel like I would need to re-explain where I'm coming from if I was hiding, my what I call witchery from people or something. Like this
Mhm.
can be I come forward with it and they see me, they talk to me, whoever it is, and they know from the get-go this is the person. And when they see my
Mhm.
online presence and my marketing, it matches. And that's actually very scary and exciting for me.
Mm.
Because it's definitely gonna, I mean, being the witch I am, it does create kind of a line in the sand for a lot of people on how they
Yeah.
might treat somebody. And that could be anything, right? That just happens to be my particular wall.
Mm.
And I'm a bit eager to test that out though, even more so, and really be that person. Like if I was a client out and about, would I recognize me? I want them to
Mm.
recognize me because I want them to want to work with me and I want to help them. And
Yeah.
the only way to help them be themselves is to be myself
Mm.
everywhere.
Yeah.
So I locked in on that right away.
Yeah. It's not only that it's the only way to help themselves, it is the only way to get the clients that are right for you,
Mhm.
right? Um, One of the things that we really have to acknowledge is when it comes to client attraction, if we want to stay engaged with our business, we need to be working with people who light us up. I can be a little bit sweary, as Nicole well knows. And I'm still professional. I am professional in the way I present myself, but I will occasionally swear in some of my social media posts, in some of my newsletters, because I don't want somebody who is very offended by swearing. And let's face it, that's a black and white issue for a lot of people. I don't want somebody like that coming to work with me and then being horrified when they hear me swear, and then being in a situation where, oh, I don't know, should I say something to her? Should I just leave it? Or what if she's like this every time that we talk, right? I'm probably not the right coach for somebody who is morally or in any other way very strongly against swearing. They are not going to want to work with me. I'm not going to want to work with them because I don't want to be in a situation where I'm always having to watch what I'm saying, right? So when we show up 100% authentically, we know that the people who are going to come and work with us are coming because they want to work with us. There are plenty of people out there who do the exact same thing we all do. And we talk about like know, like, and trust. Yeah, know, like, and trust is important. But our clients also want to be heard, seen, and valued, right? And they need to be able to have that emotional, that little deeper connection than just like, oh, I trust you to like take my money and give me something, as opposed to, I trust you to listen to what I say and to actually respond in an appropriate way, as opposed to just saying, well, no, I don't deal with that. I only deal with this, right? So we have to show up in a way that our clients can recognize, to probably recognize a little bit of themselves in us. They're like, oh, that's where I want to be in 6 months' time. But they also have to feel that emotional connection. I feel safe with this person. I feel like I can trust this person, especially when we're working with heavy topics. Yeah. So when we show up authentically, then it makes it so much easier for us to get the clients that we like working with. And then the relationship's stronger and the results are off the charts. Yeah. Crystal,
Hello.
hello.
Um, for me, I mean, I I have been recognized. Like I don't act any differently than out and about than I
Mm,
do when I'm at home or when I'm online. Um, when I get into teaching mode, that's a different voice.
mm,
And I feel like that's natural with anyone. So if you're having a conversation with me, um, that's a different voice, but I'm not going to say anything or not say something that I normally would if I were
mm.
in, say, a session or what have you. So, as far as that goes, I just show up as me.
Yeah, good.
I every day. As far as some of the things that you had mentioned, um, I don't let my fun side out a whole lot. I probably should do a little bit more of that.
I like
Um,
that.
the especially the last couple of years with my health journey and everything.
Mm,
It I didn't have it in me to have fun. There
mm,
really wasn't anything I could do
mm,
to have fun, so to speak. So, um, for me, it's adding in more of the personal side that wouldn't come through in a session. And it's really lovely because last week after my moon circle, a couple of the ladies stayed on. I'm like, I'm well, I'm good to stay on for a few minutes if you guys just want to, chit chat, that kind of thing. Because for me, when I do the groups and the circles and everything, it's all about connection. So anytime I can add in, 10, 15 minutes just for that connection space,
Yeah.
I like to do that. And when you said you want to attract the clients who have the same level of fun, excitement, and entertainment. And there was one woman who started complaining, like, "What are you all watching? Blah, 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 blah." And so we got off on this conversation about, what we like to watch when on TV when
Mm.
we're unwinding. And it was funny because the first thing out of my mouth, she goes, "Oh yeah, I like that too." I was like, "Of course you do."
Instant connection. I love
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to give you guys a couple of questions to take away with you in addition to what we've just talked about. But I want you to think about I want you to keep an ear out for victim language versus leader language. Okay. So things like clients keep ghosting me. Well, maybe I need to look at my sales process. Am I getting in touch with them the way I should be? People don't respect my time. What kind of boundaries have you set around the way that you work with people? Or even like discovery calls or anything that you offer for free. The algorithm hates me. Well, we're all feeling that right now. But but what's your consistency like? How often are you showing up? So when you start hearing those voices come in, just think, is this victim language? Is this leader language? Is there something I need to get curious about and take responsibility for? So, some questions to think about. I want you to think about, where are you currently blaming something external? What are you pretending to know? Love that question. Or sorry, what are you pretending not to know? Love that question even more. If you took 100% responsibility for this, what would change tomorrow? And the last one's a bit of a tough one. What boundary are you avoiding because you want to be liked? And then as you do this work over the next couple of weeks, I want you to commit to a boundary that you will implement, one behavior you will stop, and one decision that you're going to own without asking anybody's opinion. No more, I'll try, just I have decided. Okay, that's it for tonight.
I have put all that in the group, so don't worry
Thank
if
you,
you missed
Nicole.
anything.
Thank
I've
you.
been
I just
typing
can't write that fast
feverishly.
anymore.
I've got to clean up a couple things because I was typing so quickly, but I have it all for you in the group as well as the workbook that Chris mentioned. For anybody who is interested in next week's topic, or next time, it's not necessarily next week, we will be talking about healing the fear of visibility, which kind of leads into some of the questions she had for you, which is great. So we will be on
There is a
here for
plan,
the
Nicole.
Yes, yes, yes. So definitely like, share, subscribe, comment, all these things. I know it was a huge hit on LinkedIn. Oh my gosh, you guys, the views on LinkedIn was absolutely out of this world. So that was definitely
Amazing.
the right platform. It is a more businessy platform than others, but I thought that was interesting. So if you haven't like, shared, subscribe on our YouTube or Substack, definitely go there. And if you need any of Chris's details, they are in the show notes. You can connect with her, and she's also in our community, community.sovereign-magazine.com. Thank you all for being here today, and we will see you on the next one.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.